Hi, hello, I'm Bun Bun. Nice to meet you. We're gonna have, as the title suggests today, talking about Black women wearing bonnets out in public. Now, we're gonna take a pause for a second. Today is the 13th year with Shiny. It is Shiny's anniversary today is May 25th. I don't know if this is when the video is going to be going up, but I just wanted to make sure that we get that out the way when you start this out properly. Next, I will be looking in the mirror a lot because I will be doing my hair as we talk. This is going to be like a hair talk series where we just chat while I do my hair. Normally I moisturize my hair at night, but I needed to make this video because it's just getting out of hand. So for those that are unaware, Black women and men, we protect our hair usually at night when we're sleeping because our hair is very fragile. The bonds in it makes it so that it can break very easily. So we'll either wrap our hair in a silk scarf or a bonnet or a do-rag or use a silk pillowcase or what have you to protect our strands. Also, our hair is naturally dry. Our scalps are not naturally oily, so we have to continue to moisturize it regularly, probably every 2 to 3 days, depending on what your hair is telling you and what it needs, which is what I will be doing during this video. I will say that this conversation is very nuanced and there are a lot of people that have a lot of different opinions on it. If you are unfamiliar with any of this and you're just kind of stopping by, just kind of curious what's going on, please feel free to, sit in and watch, but do not drown out the voices that this is for, which is in particularly Black women and Black men. I welcome you to the community to, sit and sip and learn something, but please do not drown out the voices that this pertains to, because this does directly affect us in our daily lives. All right, so the conversation lately has been all over my timeline of should Black women wear their bonnets out in public? And the simple answer to that is Black women can do whatever the hell we want to do. Now let's get into it. Also, too, and as well, I have scalp psoriasis, so if you see any like white flakes or things falling and stuff, that's what that is. I'll make another video about that in the future, but if you were curious as far as like this little mark right here, it can discolor the scalp and the forehead. So it's a whole thing. We can get into that at another date, but right now we're gonna have the conversation of bonnets in public. So here's my take on it. I do wear my bonnet out in public occasionally. Why is that? Because I can. Because my hair looks like this underneath. So I can run to the store real quick with my twists, like this, not quite as nice and defined and sculpted. Or I can keep my bonnet on real quick. Now, so people will say, well, just put on a hat. Throw on a quick wig or something. And I can. You're right. I very much can. I can wear a hat, I could wear a beanie, I could wear a scarf, I could wear a wig. I have so many options that I can choose. I can also wear my bonnet. And you're not going to do anything about it. And here's why. Because the art of minding your business is so strong and so pertinent and is so needed these days. Because me wearing my bonnet over to King Soopers real quick because I need to pick up an ingredient that I didn't have for dinner affects your day this much. It affects your life this much. It affects your ability to do things this much. Okay, me wearing my bonnet does nothing to you. So let's get into the real reason why people are upset about the Black bonnet. And honestly, if we really want to get real about it and have the real conversation about it, it's the policing of Black women's bodies. There is nothing Black women can do, nothing Black women can do that won't get criticized by someone. We don't have that kind of autonomy. We don't. If we wear our hair naturally, somebody will have a fit about it and say, oh, you look unkempt, you don't look hireable, you don't look like, whatever. So someone throws a weave in. Oh, this is where's the self-hate. You need to love yourself. You out here trying to look like the other ethnicities wearing their hair. Why don't you be proud of what you have? So if we wear braids, oh, you're ghetto. If we wear locks, oh, you're ghetto. These thugs and da 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 da. You know, you get racially profiled depending on where you're at and things like that. Black men know all too well. I don't understand how this is a conversation right now. There is nothing Black women are allowed to do that won't get scrutinized by somebody, usually by each other, by our own. And I'm gonna tell you where that's from. That is supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That is being ingrained in us. They don't even have to do it anymore. They don't even have to do it anymore because we're going to police each other. We're going to police ourselves at this point. You know, I was looking through the comment section and there were a ton of Black men throwing in their 2 cents, saying, no, you shouldn't. It looks unkempt. It's raggedy. You don't look right. It's bedwear. It needs to stay in the house, which is interesting. Which is really interesting because everybody's allowed to have their opinion. You can feel how you feel about it, and that's perfectly fine. For yourself. For yourself. But when it comes to what other people are doing, that's when it becomes an issue. So there were plenty of Black women in those comments saying things like, oh, I think it's supposed to be at home wear. It's what you sleep in. You shouldn't go outside your house with pajamas on. I don't see it for myself, but it doesn't affect me what another person does. So I'm not going to police what somebody else does just because I don't prefer it for myself. And that is the correct answer. If it's not for you, don't do it. There's this saying that goes, what someone else eats don't make me shit. And that's what that is. If Lady A over here doesn't like how it looks, she thinks that it makes you look not ready for the day, not ready to be presentable out in public, and it's not something that she would choose for herself. She likes to present in a certain way to look like ready and put together, even if she's just running down the street to the grocery store to get a jug of milk because she's out. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. If she has to wrap up her hair real nice, if she has to throw on a quick wig or what have you, and she does not want to wear her bonnet out, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I get it. It's not for everybody. Not everybody has the audacity like I do. I do it because I can. Who's going to check me? Who's going to come up to me and say something? Nobody. And if you want to, we can have that argument, but you're going to look silly on the other side of it trying to police what I'm wearing on my head. For what? Aren't you here to get groceries too? Aren't you here to complete a task? Why are you in my space? 6 feet. It's quarantine. What are you doing? You know? That's silly. But I get that for some people, and it does go back to respectability politics, where it was so ingrained in us that we have to look and present a certain way in order to be respected. So a lot of that talk comes from the older generation. So Generation X and Boomers and a little bit of a divide in millennials. I don't think Gen Z really cares. They're not, they have actual things to worry about, not what I'm wearing on my head. Listen, the kids are going to be all right. They're going to be fine. So what a lot of this comes to is just policing ourselves for respectability politics so that we can look presentable for who? Exactly. Who do we need to look presentable for? So you have to understand that this is ingrained in you. We were taught this from the very beginning. Do you remember back during slavery as well, but even a little bit further down the line when head wraps really became a thing, because the mistresses of the house were just upset that black women's hair was just as beautiful as it is, and they were like, you have to cover it. I don't like it. You're getting way too much attention from my husband. You have to cover it. So we did what? We put our head wraps on and became even more mystical. It has always been policed about what we are able to do. And I'm gonna tell you something. They're not even the ones enforcing it anymore at this point. We've been so ingrained that people come tap dancing up. Just
All the time I turn around, brothers gather round.
you can't, you shouldn't wear that. It's unkempt. You need to do this. You need to do that. And what has it stopped, really? What has it stopped, really? What has it improved? Honestly. What has changed? Was Martin Luther King not in a 3-piece suit? You're so stuck on the fact that your outfit and your outer appearance and all of that changes things, and that it'll make them at least respect you. It won't. It won't. If they don't want to respect you, it doesn't matter if you have the finest of hairstyle, not a wisp of hair out of place. If you have the silkiest silk gown on, it doesn't matter. They don't care if they don't like you and they don't want to respect you. They don't care if you have on the finest Dior perfume. They don't care if you have on Vera Wang. They don't care. So me wearing my bonnet is not going to change their perception of me than if I had a silk press with the severest of buns atop my head. It doesn't matter. So what are you doing? What are you policing? The reasons that people are saying, for the most part, is because they think that it's bedwear and that it's for the house only. That's fine. That's valid, because that is the time that you wear it, when you're in the house and going to bed. But you don't have that same energy for do-rags. Why is that? This conversation isn't being stemmed over to do-rags. Okay, you're supposed to be getting your waves on swim at night. So when you wake up, them things should be seasick already. If they're not, you keep it on for the rest of the day or whatever. Or you just don't feel like doing your hair ain't looking right, so you keep your do-rag on. Or if it's part of your outfit, there's so many different colors, people be matching it to their outfits and stuff. Again, it's fine. I don't see the issue. But you don't have the same smoke for do-rags that you do for bonnets, and I would like to know why that is, because they give the same purpose. They're both nightwear, but one of them is acceptable to wear out in public and the other one isn't. And that's why I say this is specifically the policing of black women's bodies. There is nothing that we can do, there's nothing that we can wear that is going to please the masses. Somebody's always going to have something to say. So, if I need to run over to the gas station real quick because I need to pick up, whatever, why do I need to get guzzied up? Why do I need to go exchange one hat essentially for another hat so that I can go out? Now, I get that people say I wouldn't want to wear my inside clothes outside and come back inside and then lay my head on my pillow when I've been out in the elements. I get that. And that's valid. So for some, I guess you would say, oh, you could have an inside bonnet and an outside bonnet, in which case you would probably just put a hat on or the to-go wig or whatever. But again, it's the ability to mind your business that is being missed here. That part is so key. And what it does is it opens the door for other conversations of body policing. You know what I mean? Because from there, it went on to people being like, oh, and can we get rid of leggings too? It's not really pants. You be having your asses out. Da, da. Well, again, the fact of the matter is, it's free 99 to mind your own business. It is free 99 to mind your own business. Are there some outfits out there that are questionable at best? Sure. But am I really going to spend my time berating people and saying all of you don't need to be wearing this anymore? No. Because it's free 99 to mind your business. And I don't. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not a part of these other communities, so I wouldn't know. But I just don't know if other women of other ethnicities get policed in the same way that Black women do. I haven't seen it. Now, it's possible. It is entirely possible. I would have no idea. But and this isn't crossing like cultural boundaries and like religious boundaries, because I know that when it comes to certain religions, they want you to dress and do things in a certain way. This isn't about that. That isn't about that. This is about just existing as a Black woman in America. I want to be very specific about that. Okay, this is not me trying to reach over and get into anybody else's business. Again, the minding of one's own business. You see what I'm hearing here? And it just, for some reason, people are pressed enough that they don't really think too deeply past that. But the implication, so they'll say things like, oh, well, if you think it's fine to do that, then I dare you to show up to a job interview with your bonnet on and see how well that goes. I dare you to show up to a job interview with your bunny slippers on and your pajamas on and see how that goes and see if you get hired. These are false equivalencies. People are usually out running errands in their bonnets. They're not going to work in their bonnets. Mind you, I did once. I sure did. I'm a massage therapist, okay? And I was working at a massage clinic at the time. And, my hair was like this underneath. I was running a little bit late, so I said, you know what? I'm going to keep my scarf on because it looks nice. And it was a scarf. It was a silk scarf. So it was like, it was tasteful. It was nice. The people at work didn't know. The people getting massaged didn't care because they don't care what I have on my head. Their neck hurts. Their back hurts. Okay, can you fix it or not? That's the thing. Okay. So the conversation is weird here because people are making false equivalencies, and then they're also not holding the same energy for the other side of the aisle. Okay, if you want to ban the bonnet, ban the do-rag too. Neither of them to me have done anything. I think they're acceptable attire. When I think of a do-rag, I specifically think of Black men, with the low cut, trying to get their waves to swim. Sometimes with braids too, or locks, because all it is a protective wrapping to protect your hair underneath, so that it stays moisturized, so that it stays kempt. So that it doesn't mess up the style, so that you can preserve what you got going on, and or setting a style so that it can be the way you want it to be upon taking it off. Okay, how many wave checks did we see these past what was it, like 2019, 2018, before the lockdown happened? How many wave check videos did we see of students on campus undoing their do-rag and checking the swimmage? And that was a moment. That was a cultural moment. It was cute. It was very Black. It was very Black man, or whatever. Or if someone had a low cut, like in women sometimes have low cuts and they want to get their waves together too. It's not gendered, really. But that's just like, it's the typical. But there are plenty of Black men that wear bonnets as well. One of my favorite YouTubers, I Wear, he's a gamer. He has his bonnet on sometimes because He's protecting his hair. He's keeping it moisturized. It's literally not a big deal. If he leaves the house real quick to go around to the store or whatever to grab something, wouldn't think twice about it. It means nothing to me. It bothers me in no way. In no way. But I specifically wanted to bring this up because there is a photo going around, and if I can find it, I'll put it in. And from what I understand is that these women were in the airport trying to gather their bag. I think they were like baggage claim or something. And someone snapped a photo of them talking about, oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is so tacky. This is so messy. Da, 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 do better. And then it comes out that not only did these women not know that they were being photographed, and now they're just all over social media, and I don't have like for real concrete on this, but from what I saw is that they were flying in because they were attending a funeral of their loved one. Yeah. And so, in cases like that, you don't really care what your appearance is doing. You don't really care what your hair is doing. You just know that you need to get from point A to point B expeditiously. Okay. And the last thing you want to worry about is having to do your hair. So what do? You pop a bonnet on. Who cares? Oh, they could have wore a hat. Who cares? They're grieving. Who cares? Are you very critical of your appearance when you're grieving? When you just got the message that your loved one passed away? Are you very, oh man, I gotta put my lashes on. I gotta make sure my outfit is nice. I gotta put my good wig on so that I can. No, you don't care. You don't. When I went to Korea in 2018, I twisted up my hair the night before. I did just like I'm doing now. I moisturized it. I twisted it up. And that morning when I was getting everything ready to go, boom, 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 I threw my bonnet on because I had so many other things to make sure that I had ready so I could get on that flight. When I got on the flight, I had my bonnet on. Why is that? Because I'm protecting my hair from the seeds. I slept on the plane. It was what was it? I think it was 11 hours on the plane. I had to protect my hair from the seat, from the air, from everything. I had to make sure it stayed moisturized so that when I landed in Seoul, I could just and go and be in accordance with how I wanted to look and present. Whose business was it? Nobody but mine. Nobody but mine. And I'll tell you, the only person that looked at me twice and said anything was a black man working in the airport. And he looked at me and he was like, I cannot believe you got that thing on your head. I said, why? I'm protecting my hair. What's it to you? Who do I gotta look good for on a plane? What is typical, American attire on a plane? Something comfortable. If you're not on a business trip and you have to immediately get off the plane and go to wherever you're going, usually you wear something comfortable. So for me, I was in sweats, a hoodie, and my bonnet. Okay? Who's it hurting? Who's it distracting? Nobody cares. And so we land. We get there to Korea, and let me tell you, the reason why people were looking at us, not because we were in our bonnets, because we was a gang of black girls. And they were like, oh, interesting. And then kept going. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. It's so easy to mind your business. It's so easy to not put these constraints on each other like this, because we already have far too many constraints that I just don't think other ethnicities do. So we're really sitting here and having this conversation. We're really sitting here having this argument of should black women wear their bonnets out in public or not? Mind your business. It's that easy. Simple as 1, 2, 3. Honestly, it cannot be for you. it can 100% not be for you. And you'd be like, I wouldn't do it. I don't really like how it looks. I don't really like the connotations of it. Da, 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 da. I like to present in a certain way when I'm out in public, so it's just not for me. And that is perfectly fine. That is completely valid. But then it's best if you follow that sentence with, but what I do don't make someone else shit. What I do doesn't affect the next person. So what the next person does doesn't affect me. Me wearing my bonnet in the checkout line does not make it so that you cannot no longer make your purchase. Me wearing my bonnet in the purchase line does not no longer make it so that you can't get what you came to get and go back home. It doesn't. So it's so weird that this conversation is as strong and heavy as it is. Because why? Because all you're doing is upholding the supremacy standard that was set back in the day, and they don't even have to be the ones to do it anymore. It's you. It's you. This is that weird respectability politic. That is, to me, that is on par with telling someone, oh, you need to cut your locks and get a fade so that people respect you when you go out in public. Excuse me? I feel like it's on par with that. I really do. Not simply just because all this is bedwear and so it should be in the house, but because you are now telling a black person how they need to present out in public to appear a certain way to somebody else. Because that's all that is. That's all that is. You don't really care. You just care how it looks. And you feel like it's gonna negatively affect you? Because I get it. Because if one of us do something, then all of us get affected by it. I get that. And it sucks. It does. But it's also up to us to break out of that and say no. This person wearing their bonnet out here, this person wearing their do-rag out here, it means nothing. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't speak on who they are as a person. To me, you never know what's going on. She might be on her way to the hair salon and had to stop by the store real quick and grab something or whatever. Or just like those women in the airport, they might be on their way to a funeral and it just might be all that they could do to slap that on their head real quick. You don't know. You don't know what someone is going through, if they're going through anything at all. For me, in my case, usually it's like, oh, all right, I need to run around the corner real quick and grab something. Okay? It's really as simple as just minding your business. I hate the body policing that black women specifically have to go through. And again, I'm specifically speaking on my community. I'm not saying that other people don't go through this, other ethnicities don't go through this. They definitely do. I know that you do. But again, I'm speaking on mine because that's my experience. I have the experience in that. I've lived it. I'm living it. Okay. And so I really think to bring it all together here is to say that don't do it if you don't like it. Don't wear a bonnet out in public if you don't like it. Don't wear a do-rag out in public if you don't like it. Although again, that's never the conversation. I bet you all of that. And I specifically want to say, Avant was one of the, I was surprised to see his name. Honestly. Is he still making music? He might be. I didn't keep up with him specifically. That's not no shade. Because he had some bangers in the day. He really, really did. Granted, I was a child. So, you know, listening to some of those songs now as an adult, it's like, oh, is that what we were singing? Or I'm gonna come back to you, Avant. I'm gonna come back because there is something specifically, now that you've jogged this memory for me, that there is something specifically that was really interesting. Just as a sidebar, just as an aside, it has nothing to do with this. It's just something that let's just get into it right now. Let's just get into it right now. I was listening to, let me pull up what the song was. Because you know how when you're a kid and you're listening to a song, and things don't register the same way it do when you're an adult, and you're like, oh my God. It was that. So, and I'll be interested if any of you already know where I'm going with the song, because boy, Avant, your song, Thinking About You, I thought it was so pretty when I was little. I really did. I heard it again the other day as an adult. So when it came out, it was in 2012. So I was either 11 or 12. I'm now 30. So I heard the song again, and it goes, waiting for the day to end, I'll be staring at your 8x10. As I lay me down to sleep, it starts all over again. Okay, fine. Do you know I spend all day, all night thinking about you, dreaming about you? Do you know I spend most of my time wishing for you? Okay. When I see you in the street, I play it off real cool. But when I get all alone, I feel like a fool. Remember in high school, writing love notes? You know how the game go. If you want me, yes or no. All right. Then we skip to, it says, she don't even notice me, or do she really notice me? I got to see how she feels because baby, my love is real. So at this point, it dawned on me that this is giving stalker vibes. You know, you said that you fall asleep to her 8x10. So again, this is in 2012. You know, camera phones weren't really, so you didn't like sneak take a picture, or maybe, you know, so you had your camera and you took a picture of this girl, got it developed 8x10, and you stare at that at night. And then he said, you know, you play it off in the street when she comes, you try to play cool or whatever. Maybe she notices you, maybe she doesn't. So at this point, she has no idea that you have this picture of her. You said you wrote love notes in school, so she might know of you. There are plenty of people that I know of in school. Do they have an 8x10 of me? No, they shouldn't. Ideally, they don't, because you could say, oh, you got that picture out of the yearbook, but you still would have had to go get it developed to be an 8x10. You see where I'm going with this? So the song, it just, as an adult, I'm seeing that, wow, oh, So, not to correlate anything or anything, because it doesn't really, but it's just interesting that someone that has this stalkerish, or stalker confirmed perhaps song has so much to say about a woman in a bonnet. Could always just mind our business, couldn't we? That was just a little aside. that was something that I was interested in bringing up, because I do have these times where I'm listening to songs as an adult and it's like, oh man, is that what this song was about this whole time? Is that what I was singing? Good Lord, I was a child, I didn't know, but now I'm an adult and I know. That was one of them. So yeah, you just jogged that memory for me. Wow, that was an aside. Anyway, all of that to say, is I'm really waiting for us to do better. There are a lot of real conversations that we could be having, and they are being had by a lot of people, and this is just a little aside, but it bothers me. It's bothersome because it's so meaningless. It's so purposeless. It has no bearing. A woman or a man or ladies and gentlethems, anybody wearing a bonnet out in public is not indicative of their personality, of who they are and what they represent, of their value or their worth, their work ethic. All it means is they probably had to run about the house real quick, and they have their bonnet on. Oh well. I've seen conversations saying, oh, you would never catch Beyonce, or you would never catch Rihanna, Cardi B, or any of them out there in the streets with their bonnet on. And? Okay. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. I then heard talk saying that Cardi B was in fact at the corner store real quick with her bonnet on. And what does it mean? What value have you given us? Nothing. If they don't wear their bonnets out in public, that's perfectly fine. But if they do, that's perfectly fine too. That's what I'm saying here. Is there's no reason to be having this amount of back and forth. And it's not just like it's just a conversation and people are taking it way too seriously and da-da-da-da. Because it is upholding, what is it? It's upholding, I've been seeing it. It's just policing black women's bodies. It's just policing black women's bodies. Period. I know people say, well, nobody should be out there with rollers in their hair and doing this and that and the third. Why? What concern is it to you? What difference does it make? I know that we have all seen the pictures of people in Walmart wearing just whatever, just showing up, and God knows, knowing good and well that was not it. That was not the move. And I know that we've all had horrified Kiki just cackled like, oh my God, I cannot believe this person walked out the house to go grocery shopping. And that, we've seen that. We've all seen that. And those conversations have been had, and the laughter was had, and when you take that, suddenly a bonnet ain't that bad. Suddenly a bonnet, it just doesn't compare. You know, because we're still dressed. You know, we're still dressed like we were meant to be outside and out in public spaces. You just have a bonnet on. If you swapped it out for a hat, or swapped it out for a wig or a scarf, nobody would care. Nobody would care. Nobody would care. So it's just a matter of, we could just mind our business. And you've got to stop taking photos of people and then shaming them online. These aren't celebrities. okay, that have subjected themselves to paparazzi or, you know, random passerbyers that recognize them. They didn't sign up for a lifestyle in the public eye. So you out here taking pictures of these ladies in the airport trying to get their baggage from baggage claim or whatever it was. Well, shame on you. You should feel embarrassed for doing that. Because now that it's come out, seemingly from what I've heard, that they were flying in for a funeral, you should feel like a heel. That's ridiculous. Doing that to somebody. It's one thing. It's one thing if you have a little kiki in the group chat or something. Because that happens. That happens. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I'm perfect and haven't seen something and then I hit the group chat and be like, yo, guess what I just saw? But that's kitchen table talk. Okay, you don't blast that on the internet, because I would be mortified if I came and I'm scrolling through and then I see myself and the internet's dragging me because, oh, this girl got her bonnet out in public. Oh my gosh, she's so righteous. She's so ghetto. It's ghetto. Excuse me? Just because I needed to go get some shredded cheese for these enchiladas I'm finna make? Like, what are you talking about? You guys have to understand that you are talking about and affecting real lives here. And if it is the case that these women were here for, or flying in for a funeral, they already have all of the stress of the world on their back. Just to look up and see that they are now circulating Black Twitter in the shade room and things like that, being tore down by their own people. How much sense does it make? Make it make sense. You see what I'm saying here? Something as innocent and non-doing as wearing a bonnet has sparked this conversation to where I was upset enough and had to get on. I don't really know full blown what I'm doing with this channel necessarily, because I'm just getting started. So the possibilities are endless. I can do whatever I want. But for the most part, you know, what have I done? I've reacted to Shiny, I've reacted to BTS, I've done speed paints, I've done, you know, just like simple stuff, simple cute things, which I will continue to do. But sometimes you have to pull back and get real and really talk about it, talk about stuff. And this drew me. Now I'm very this, because this is horrendous. This is atrocious. There is nothing Black women can do in this world and not get criticized for it. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. You can try to be as perfect and prim and do everything as guided as you want to. There's always going to be somebody, and it's always usually surrounding our features. And that is such a problem when it comes directly from our own community, policing ourselves. Because they don't even have to do it anymore. Because we're doing it ourselves at this point. And that's an issue. We've taken on the role. We've started doing the tap dancing and telling each other what is and isn't acceptable anymore. When really, we should be banding together and saying, this is a non-issue. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Moving forward. Hello? There are so many other things that are bigger and actually important that we should be tackling. But instead, we're having a conversation about bonnets. That's it. That's all I wanted to really get across, is the it's fine to have an opinion. It is fine to have a stance on it. It is fine to say I wouldn't do it for myself. But what other people do don't affect me. I'm not going to put this person down because I wouldn't do it myself. Because what they're doing is not hurting anybody. And that really needs to be driven home for some of you. That's all. Anyways, if you enjoyed sitting here watching me do my hair and having this conversation, I encourage you that when I do these videos that, go ahead and, do your hair too. We'll just have like a little back and forth, you know what I mean? Let's talk about it in the comments down below if you so choose. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know where you're at. Did you learn anything new today? If you're not a part of the community, but you are a friend of the community and you learned something, let me know down in the bottom. And like and subscribe. Come back again sometime. Bye.